Hello! The Anime Club is back again. Once again.
Yeah,
For the
we're
final
sorry.
segment.
Slam your head
Now
on
we're
the
going
wall.
over... So this is just going to be a quick free talk, faff about whatever we want to talk about until we get sick of talking, and then we'll reveal the next anime.
Yeet. Yeet.
So, I was going to bring it up in the last segment, but, wait, what... Was it...
Fights.
Were we talking about the fight scenes? Yes.
You wanted to talk about fights.
That jet fighter fight scene.
Oh!
There's a fucking dog fight. It's the only time there's a dog fight in the Fate anime. And it's like, okay, so Berserker can take control of anything and make it his noble phantasm. So he takes a fucking jet plane and starts attacking Gilgamesh with it.
Hiya, the king of the sky. He's flying too fast and he's flying too high.
And I'm gonna put into the insanity of this moment into context here. In the original light novel, they specify that Gilgamesh's jet moves at the speed of thought. What the fuck does that mean?
What? Yeah, what?
Well, because the speed of thought is quantifiably, isn't it like faster than the speed of light?
I don't
The speed of
know.
thought is faster. Let me look it up real quick.
Yeah,
Hold on a second while I look
I'm
it
gonna
up.
look this
Yeah,
up
let's-
too.
If we
Yeah,
talk
let me get it.
scientifically,
Reminder that if Seki's wrong, just to cover her ass here for her. If she's wrong, she's an anthropology major, not a science major. Or a psychology
This is a movie apparently as well.
Well, no, but outside of that, okay.
Yeah.
So-
No, I know.
Yeah, I
but-
saw the movie.
Yeah.
But just like when you're trying, like, just to
Alright.
make an scene more insane.
Okay. All right. I'll open up a science magazine. All right. So. All right.
scientifically
So
it shouldn't.
humans can respond to information that's in less than a quarter of a millisecond, right? So in terms of sensing and responding, a good measure is apparently a sprinter reacting to a starting gun, which takes about 150 milliseconds.
Mhm.
So I mean, you move very fast, 120 meters a second. I mean, that's pretty fast. Although I wouldn't say that's necessarily. So I think what we're seeing here is we're seeing what I would have assumed, right? Is that to a non-science person, the speed of thought seems instantaneous, right? Which means that in your head you'd think, well, it must be faster than the speed of sound. It must be faster than the speed of light. So we think of like a non-scientist who doesn't know anything about it would think of this as being some sort of massively fast thing like Mach 4, Mach 5, Mach 6, whatever, or like literally faster than the speed of light, but it's not actually. This is just like the author, I think, trying to invoke this feeling of something that's faster than we can conceptualize.
Yeah.
Because we can't actually see the power of thought. Like that's not the speed of thought.
This
That's
is not something
a-
that we can
something we can
quantify.
see. Yeah, because everyone reacts differently and it can depend on a lot of different factors. But the general perception of it is that it's incredibly fast, faster than anything we know.
Yeah. I don't know. I just love the over-the-topness of that scene so much.
Yeah.
And like right afterwards, he jumps out of the sky after the plane's destroyed with a Gatling gun and gets ready to fire it.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
I love Berserker because, like, early on, there's that fight scene where he's fighting Gilgamesh, and Gilgamesh shoots one of his weapons at him, and he just catches it, and you see him like fling it back at him.
Yeah, it's like a lovely little like whooah. It's unfortunate that we're not recording with video because I'm a very gesturative
We're like-
person.
Waving,
We are like-
Seki and I are waving our hands around.
If we were sitting next to each other, we'd be like slapping each other. We are gesticulating.
On a less, oh my god note, I do like, as a matter of the way it helps the story, the fact that in that same fight scene, like leading up to it, almost every servant reveals who they are in that one scene. I am King Arthur. I am Diarmid. I am Iskandar, King of Conquerors. It's like previous Fate was like, yeah, we're gonna keep that under wraps. Here, no, they just reveal it all within like the third episode, except for like one of them.
Yeah.
I don't know. There's a part of me that appreciates that because they don't keep the name hidden thing for very long going forward.
I think
I
they
don't know.
did that because they wanted the psychology to be known. Well, not psychology, the ideology and ideals of the members of the war.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, it's definitely meant to portray the characters more so you know where they're coming from to begin with, so you could see them develop and see their ideologies clash a lot easier. I do agree with you there, more.
Well, you also see some of the flaws of their ideology as well, if you're looking close
Yeah.
enough.
Yeah. I mean, I know Seki didn't like King Arthur, but I also do like the aspect of the series that's just shitting on King Arthur the series.
Yeah, I wouldn't say that I actively dislike her. I think I'm just at
You just
the
haven't been
moment
sold on her yet.
disappointed. Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
at the moment unfulfilled by what I've seen of King Arthur. I think it's because I have higher expectations of King Arthur, maybe. Because I've seen a lot of depictions of King Arthur, and I've read a lot of King Arthur mythology, and I've seen it in movies, and because of that I have a somewhat higher like expectation than I do for like Alexander the Great, because I don't really watch stuff about or movies that have Alexander the Great as a character.
King Arthur is a character that's been done so much in
Yeah.
fiction that it's a little bit. I can see why you might have a little bit of a higher expectation for King Arthur. You know?
Yeah, and you know what, I am excited to see more.
Is there anything else anyone wants to bring up before we move into our final thoughts here?
No.
No.
Oh, let's see. I was looking up something, but I don't think it's Lancer's spears.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so well, obviously this is Deermud, right?
Yeah.
And mythologically, he's attributed like 3 different weapons, right? He's attributed a sword called the Great Fury, given to him by a sea god.
They give it to him in FGO.
Yeah.
That's just a fun fact.
And then he's attributed 2 spears, the Gai Bud, or the yellow spear, and the Gai Darg, or the red spear, which have like special powers, which is, pretty cool. He also had, that was it for weapons, but I think it's interesting that like, they had like 3 different options to pick from, because it's not that often that like a mythological figure has like more than like 1 or 2 legendary weapons, so it really gives you a choice. And like, because they could have made like, he could have been a saber character. Like, I'm sure there's an incarnation of him as a saber.
Yeah, no, he can be summoned as a saber.
Yeah, because he has the sword, but he also has 2 big pointy spear boys.
Yeah, no, I mean, if you look at a mythological figure and you're like, that figure has other weapons they could have used as well, they've probably turned that into a servant in FGO to milk you for some cash.
Yeah. And I mean, I know that it's a gacha game and you have to like pay sometimes to get like the packs you want and stuff, but like, I mean, if it wasn't quite so gacha, I'd be like way more into it than I was.
There are non-gacha Fate games, so I might introduce you to one of the good ones.
Yeah, but can I get every Lancer?
There's Fate. I know there's a
And
couple. Like there's
Scathic
Fate
and
Extella,
Aphie.
Extella
I know
and Fate Umbra.
Stothic and Kuklane, and I think Gearmoon might be in there as well.
Yeah, I mean, either way, I think that, like I said, I didn't play Grand Order for long, but like, it's cool that there's a lot of options presented by the Fate series. In a lot of ways, you know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of one of those like books where you like, it gives you like 2 or 3 options at the end of each chapter. It's like, go to chapter 17 if you choose this option, or page 12 if you choose this one. And they're like the create your own adventures or whatever, like Try Not to Dies. It kind of reminds me of that, like Fate in general.
Fate Stay Night was one of those, basically, just in visual form.
Yeah. I mean, it is in essence a very large Otome game, except it's not about dating; it's about surviving.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm a big fan of that. I think it's a really fun concept. I've had some books like that.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be no secret that I do plan to introduce you guys to a little bit more of Fate. At the speed I'll do it at, I am going to try to be generous to you guys and not just bombard you with Fate every time my name comes up in that damn hat.
Oh, really? Knick-Knack? With more Fate? What have we done to Knick-Knack?
If I continuously rained Fate on you down until we were done here, I don't think we'd be done with Fate until like season 3 or 4 of this podcast.
Ugh.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
I'd rather take you guys at an easy pace, maybe throw a few of them into the random hat and leave them at the random hat, show you the mainline stuff, and maybe one or two of my favorite spinoffs.
I mean, we obviously have to see the funny one, so like
That one will come.
that's that.
Yeah, we
that
gotta
is
reach that
settled.
point.
All right, so guess final thoughts moving into those. Anyone want to start us off here?
I'll go ahead and start off. I'll just go ahead and start off. So, I thought that this is generally like a much needed improvement to the original Fate Stay Night, at least in terms of just like overall character and animation quality. Because like I believe I can't remember if it was, I think it was Seki who mentioned it, but she said that like it gives us a more dynamic view of like everyone in the war, not just one perspective. Like we don't just get Saber's perspective for this war, so we get to see more development across the board. I feel like, even though we get less overall time with one character in specific.
Yeah, but that's development for you.
Yes.
Yeah.
So those are my thoughts. I liked it. I liked it enough. I would rate it a Saber out of a character that has not yet appeared in this series.
Oh my.
Okay.
Yes.
Is it Rider of Black?
Yes.
No. Yeah, Rider of Black.
Can I know who that is?
I'll tell you after the podcast.
Okay.
All right. How about Vorn next?
This, as I said, this isn't the greatest Fate that I've seen, but it's also not the worst. We all know what the worst is already, don't we?
Actually, you guys probably don't.
Lunar Legend Tsukihime.
That's not
I'm
Fate.
kidding. I'm kidding.
But there is a worse Fate than Stay Night that I will not show you guys non-randomly, and I might not even put it randomly.
Yeah.
Thank gosh,
I'd rather
then
make you
I
guys
don't
play the
have to
video game.
realize that. Oh, I really don't want to realize that. But yeah, no, this
Hey,
one
extra last encore for anyone interested. But
Born, continue.
This Fate is very different from the original Fate. Its animation's much more better. We get better character development. We also get to learn more about the character's ideology than we do actually with the original, because that's just how the story was written. And I kind of like that. This did really come at a bad time for me to watch, but I'll rate it without bias of that. So 8.3 out of 10.
good show, just a bad timing for it to come up for you.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're the only one who hasn't done final thoughts.
Yeah.
Well, Nick Nack hasn't either, but I
Yeah.
have to go before him because he's going to rant.
Yes.
Yep.
Remember time limits. Anyways, but I mean, I've talked a lot about it today. I mean, you know that the major call for me to this series is the historical figures. If they weren't there, I wouldn't watch it and I wouldn't like it. Period. Like, there's just no other appealing part of the show. I don't like the story particularly, but I like the characters. So, you know, I don't like the story, and that's what trips me up. Like, I would never watch this on my own, but I like it so much because there's a lot of recognizable elements to me that allow me to kind of, you know, utilize whatever, you know, knowledge I have and like enjoy knowing it and having that extra leg up. So in light of that, in terms of the story, right, for me, it's probably like a 3 or a 4 out of 10. It's not great. But in terms of the characters, it's like definitely a 9 or a 10, like just overall. And I don't know how I would average that because I don't know, you can't have one without the other. So it's just like a weird combination for me.
See, it's weird. With Fate, it relies on the strength of its characters because it's a very simple plot. It's these 7 figures summoned into the world.
Mm-hmm.
The story is always, in every series, comprised of the characters that it's made of.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's
Gilles
what
de
I mean.
Rais built is like the primary like force of the story, the thing that they're working towards most, especially in this section. And that entire part with Gilles de Rais is sort of because he's there. In Fate, it's only ever like the servants that largely determine the direction of the story. So I don't know if I can separate the characters in the story as much as I think Seki has, but that is going to come down to personal opinion, I guess. it does have to be said that I do hold a lot of nostalgic value for this series. It is undeniable that this series is, most of my praise is coming from nostalgia here and time to overanalyze these things. But I do find that this is a series that I love more and more on every rewatch I give it, because I find new things to love about it. And it's probably one of the few anime series that I can actually go back and rewatch not long after watching it the first or recently. Whereas normally I have to give myself months of time before I rewatch something. So, as far as my personal opinion goes, I would give this series a 10 out of 10. But 100% fair, I do agree that this series is probably, especially on first time watch through, if I'm analyzing things as objectively as possible, maybe an 8 out of 10. But that's just where I stand, I guess. All right, well, I think that should be all of us, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, I guess try harder, everyone. We'll see. Oh, no.
Yeah.
No.
So we already polled because we're a week late in recording this, since you all need to know our lives and how busy we are, and the fact that we have to postpone things sometimes.
We have lives outside of the internet.
Even though this literal episode is going to be coming out months after it's recorded.
And it's not, the schedule shouldn't be at all affected by...
Apparently, we need to publicize to you about that.
Publicization.
And last week, we pulled Vorn from the hat, and he chose Clean Freak.
Yeah, because I promised you something that you would like, Sekhmet, and also we're past the unspeakable.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Um,
Iko genki dasete.
Stop terrorizing Vorn segment.
I'm sorry.
With that being said, try harder. We're going to try not to piss off Vorn, guys.
You